This item, originally a hip belt, was inherited by the guest. It was divided into a necklace and bracelet for better wearability by the guest. The item is a marriage of 1840s to 1850s necklace and buttons.
Plated chain. This is called a marriage. It's two various things, usually two different eras, coming together to make one piece.
It features cut steel, set with rivets.
These are called cut steel. Not marcasite. Marcasite is actually a gemstone. Oh. But cut steel is literally cut from steel and molded into little faceted tops.
In 19th century jewelry making, cut steel was a popular material. Additionally, its chromium-plated chain dates the item to around the 1920s. Cut steel pieces like this are actually rare due to their susceptibility to rust. The total retail value for this piece would be in the region of...
So in this piece here, you've got about $2,000 worth of cut steel pieces.
Oh my goodness.
Before us is a fascinating piece of jewelry with a prestigious past. The guests received this piece as a wedding gift after it had been previously given to their mother by her great aunt, the renowned Helen Hayes.
Well, my mother gave it to me as a wedding present about 20 years ago, and before that it had been a gift to my mother from her great aunt Helen Hayes.
Helen Hayes was an American actress often referred to as the First Lady of American theatre. She was a renowned stage and screen actress and one of the most celebrated actresses of her time.
She was such a rock star in the entertainment world with such a long career that spanned over 80 years. And she was one of the earliest people to achieve the EGOT, as we call it these days, which is winning an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony.
Yeah.
Lacking a signature, the provenance as a gift from Charlie, Helen Hayes' husband, was vital to determining the identity of this piece.
Little that you know about it, which is that it was a gift from her husband Charlie, was enough for us to start to build the case of what this is, because it's not signed. And when we start to look at the history of this piece, we think, okay, so she married Charlie MacArthur, who was a journalist and a writer.
This design was particularly fashionable during the 1930s.
And so he famously, one of the first pieces he made for her was a pair of Maltese cross bracelets that looked just like this.
The legendary Duke of Vedora is credited with designing this piece. This piece is adorned with a variety of exquisite precious stones.
You have cabochon emeralds, we have the sugarloaf amethyst, aquamarines, sapphires, diamonds, rubies. To say that this is a rare piece.
The rarity of this piece cannot be overstated, with a value estimated at...
We think a very conservative auction estimate would be at least $100,000 to $150,000.
Goodness. Oh my word.
This playing card was found in the guest's grandfather's house. Interestingly, the family's initial plan was to include the cards in the estate sale, but it was later given to her. These cards feature the work of a very well-known 20th century Peruvian artist named Alberto Vargas. Alberto became famous in the 1940s, particularly for his work with Esquire magazine. These beautiful pictures were painted using airbrushed images of the ideal woman, reflecting the sensibilities of the 1940s and 50s.
Ideal women, at least as the sensibilities of the 1940s and 50s saw them. His work appeared on all kinds of things, on posters, in magazines, in movies. The last and probably one of the most famous of all his designs.
This particular set was given out by the Electro Hercules Steel Company in Cleveland, Ohio, as part of a trade promotion. The card cover is actually designed like a book made of metal, which has helped preserve the cards in excellent condition.
They were used as a trade promotion. The card cover is actually designed like a book. It's metal, and that's, I think, what's kept them in such great shape.
Additionally, the design on the back of the cards is distinctly from the 1950s and likely dates to around 1953.
If you look at the design on the back of the cards, it's very 1950s, and I think that these probably date from around 1953. The back of the cards show the masks of comedy and tragedy.
The last set of these cards that was found and sold at auction fetched a price of...
The last of these cards that I could find that sold at auction sold for $500.
Wow.
Revealed today is a piece of German porcelain that originally belonged to the guest's father-in-law and was later inherited by her. This German porcelain was designed as a gift for children.
A German porcelain, and they were made for children as gifts. You could buy not just sugar bowl and creamers, but plates and little cups and things like that.
Furthermore, children's wear like this was often treasured and rarely used.
But plates and little cups and things like that to give to children, infants. Children's wear was often treasured and rarely used.
The porcelain features nursery rhyme-style animals, including a cow and a goat. It also includes a chicken, a goose, a dog, and a cat. The inclusion of dogs and cats significantly elevates the value, as there are collectors who specifically seek out dog and cat themed wear. Both pieces also depict an automobile, which became popular around the 1890s. However, the image of the automobile greatly enhances the value, making this pair worth...
The pair of them in a good antique shop would certainly sell for about $150 or perhaps as much as $200.
Okay.
This sculpture originally belonged to the guest's godmother and was recently given to her. The sculpture depicts a man at work with his hat blowing away on a wave. He has a hoe strapped to his back and is leaping forward in a spontaneous reaction. This piece is characteristic of a particular school of artisans working in late 19th century Tokyo. It is made of bronze and reflects the changes in Japan during the Meiji period.
It's made of bronze.
Okay.
And it was in response to a change in Japan during the Meiji period.
At that time, artisans were creating works aimed at foreign audiences, which were often displayed in international exhibitions in places like St. Louis, Philadelphia, and Chicago. The stylistic makeup of this sculpture indicates that it was made in the late 19th century. Also, it features a small square mark with several inscriptions, including the name Kaneda, which is the name of the sculptor.
And it says a number of things, but what's important is that it says Kaneda, and that is the name of the sculptor.
This figure is only for retail replacement purposes, and it would be valued at...
For retail replacement purposes, I think a figure of $12,000 would be about right.
In an antique mall, someone discovered a rare handwritten book by a legendary clockmaker. A person found a book at a mall which was on clockmaking. Their main interest is collecting watches, especially those related to navigation and flight. The book, titled Essai d'Horloge, caught their eye due to its subject matter. They were amazed to find it handwritten by Ferdinand Berthoud, a famous Parisian clockmaker. This discovery is important for navigation history, addressing the problem of determining longitude at sea. King George of Britain established a longitude prize after a shipwreck that caused many deaths. The prize was about £17,000, or around $3 million today.
This is a very unusual occurrence because we do sometimes find manuscript versions of printed books.
The solution was eventually provided by British watchmaker John Harris. The book is unique because it is handwritten. It has a title page with Berthoud's cipher dated 1792. It contains two parts, one from 1791 and the other from 1792. It also includes original drawings and is a rare find, as no printed versions seem to exist. A collector found that Berthoud's Swiss family does not list their work in their bibliography. The book is also not in libraries, highlighting its rarity. It is a direct work by Berthoud with notes at the end. The individual bought the book for about $200 Canadian.
I bargained them down to $200 Canadian.
Given the interest in this area, its estimated auction value could be between $40,000 to $60,000.
I would say the estimate range should be $40,000 to $60,000.
Wow.
This was much higher than their initial estimate of $2,000 to $5,000.
I think the thing that I am enjoying about this is that you did recognize what it was when you saw it, and you picked it up, so it got to the right home.
The joy of discovering and recognizing its significance is clear. The book ended up in the right hands, and the individual was advised to insure it for at least $80,000.
You should probably insure it for at least $80,000.
I honestly thought 2 to 5.
This vase originally belonged to the guest's great-grandmother and was passed down through generations. The appraiser identified the vase as made by Louis C. Tiffany Furnaces Incorporated, which is distinct from Tiffany & Co., the jewelry company.
This vase was made at Louis C. Tiffany Furnaces, Inc. Oftentimes people confuse, there are two companies. There was Tiffany & Company, and then there were the companies that were owned by Louis Comfort Tiffany.
Okay. Louis Comfort Tiffany, the son of Charles Tiffany, founder of Tiffany & Co., was renowned for his work in stained glass, mosaics, blown glass, and pottery. This vase, crafted in 1926, was a rare and unusual piece of art glass. Its signature, along with the letter N, along with the marking L.C. Tiffany Incorporated, Favril, indicated its creation in the 1920s. This vase was a piece of case glass consisting of multiple layers, with an inner layer of brownish cherry colour and an exterior matte finish that resembled an agate texture. The guests liked the pieces because it resembled pottery but was made of glass. In terms of value, the appraiser estimated the vase could retail for between
In a retail venue, I could see this selling for between $30,000 and $50,000.
Oh my God.
The guest, stunned by this appraisal, expressed amazement as the vase was indeed a hidden treasure. The guest inherited 2 vases from their parents, who were of Jewish descent. His father was born in Hungary and fled the country due to Nazi persecution. Guests believe the vases are from Journet, a Hungarian company. The appraiser identifies the blue vase as French and the red one as a classic Journet. The blue vase has a unique crystalline glaze and Egyptian design influence.
This decoration here is called a crystalline glaze. This crystalline glaze was kind of a very French theme. And this type of glaze was a new innovation in terms of technology.
The blue vase is more valuable and bears the number 5,650, indicating that it was manufactured between 1898 and 1900.
But by the 1890s, they've been experimenting with all these wonderful new colors and glazes.
The red vase, marked with the number 3,939, indicates that it was manufactured between 1891 and 1895. The red vase has a combination of Islamic and English design. The blue vase is rare to find, although the red one is considered more valuable. The appraiser determines the red vase's value to be
That one would retail for somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000.
While the blue vase's retail price is estimated to be
A retail price on this one might be in the $2,000 to $3,000 range.
Together, the vases are valued as
So together we're looking at between $5,000 and $8,000.
Wow, that exceeds my expectations greatly. It is a true connection to my Hungarian ancestors. It's a life that's gone forever.
Did you know that pins have been cherished as symbols of elegance and status for centuries? This particular pin, a family heirloom, passed down from mother to daughter and originating from a New York City Metropolitan Opera member, was recently examined. Initially believed to be an opera lorgnette converted into a pin, the appraiser revealed that it was always a brooch, not a lorgnette. Despite the intriguing backstory, the piece is identified as a Belle Epoque pin, dating from around 1905 to 1915, crafted in America. This exquisite pin features 12 large diamonds, each approximately half a carat, totaling around 10 carats. The diamonds are old European cuts, boasting a colour range of F to G and clarity of VS or better. Complementing the dazzling diamonds is a stunning natural pearl, measuring 10 millimeters with exceptional luster and depth. The appraiser highlighted the rarity and value of the natural pearls, saying,
I'm a pearl guy. I love the diamonds. I love that it's in platinum. But the pearl, it's what we call button-shaped. It is, in fact, a natural pearl. It happens to have an exceptional size. It's 10 millimeter.
As estimated by the appraiser, the pin's overall worth is...
So if I put this into auction, I would put it in for $12,000 to $18,000.
A guest brought 2 unopened Nintendo games from the 1980s for appraisal. The games belonged to who had received them from someone. The appraiser confirmed the game's origin, noting that the Nintendo Entertainment System, which debuted in 1983, revolutionized video gaming. Before Nintendo, popular gaming systems included Atari, ColecoVision, and Intellivision, which were much simpler. The games the guests brought were the iconic Super Mario Bros. 3 and Double Dragon. The Super Mario Bros. 3 cartridge was a second printing because of the Bros placement in the title.
When looking at the Super Mario Bros. 3, we know that it's a second printing instead of a first printing due to the location of the Bros in the title. A true first printing of the cartridge would have the Bros all the way to the left under the M in Mario. So just that little difference is a big deal in value.
Meanwhile, the Double Dragon cartridge was also a second printing due to the ovoid Nintendo seal. The appraiser highlighted the recent explosion in the collectible video game market, which had caused significant price increases. The guest was stunned by the high valuation.
Total, at auction today for the pair of cartridges, you would be at $3,000 to $5,000 in the market.
Oh my gosh. This piece actually has a unique story pertaining to it. The story starts when the guest was in the University of Michigan in 1975 and met Andy Warhol. Warhol was signing items for students, and that led the guest to purchase this Brillo pad poster for $10 from the campus bookstore. It was signed Andy Warhol, 1975, after Warhol learned the guest was from Pittsburgh. Fascinatingly, this poster was created in 1970 for exhibition in Pasadena, California.
It's really a great poster, and the poster was done in 1970 for an exhibition at a museum in California, in Pasadena.
It is a silkscreen print and is still in excellent condition.
Bright colors. The poster is a silkscreen. The condition is great. Any expectations as to what the price might be?
Additionally, Warhol's signature significantly increases its value.
For auction, it sells for between about $500 and $750.
Okay.
As such, this Brillo pad poster is now valued at auction between...
With the signature, at auction, we feel that it would be worth between $3,000 and $4,000. Makes it just that much more special, so it might bring even slightly more.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. I'm going to probably keep it on my wall for...
On today's show, we have an exceptional vintage Rolex watch. The guest's father had received it as a gift from his mother, the guest's grandmother.
Grandmother, probably sometime in 1941 when he went into the service after Pearl Harbor.
This Rolex watch, dating back to the 1940s, has Rolex Army on the dial.
Well, it's a Rolex. It's from the 1940s, and on the dial it says Rolex Army. And of the 1940s watches, this particular model is very desirable.
Rolex modified their watches with Army on the dial in the 1940s to cater specifically to military customers. Unfortunately, the original dial finish has been redone on this timepiece. On the bright side, this watch is a rare find.
The great news is it's a very rare watch. Collectors love military watches, and especially military Rolexes.
This timepiece is remarkably well preserved. Due to the repainted dial, the value of this extraordinary timepiece has been impacted and would be worth.
It would retail for $3,000 to $5,000 in the store. Unfortunately, because the dial's been refinished, it's about $2,000 in a retail shop.
Today's featured piece is a Windsor high-back rocking chair. A Windsor high-back rocking chair is a type of chair that combines the classic design of a Windsor chair with the comfort of a rocking chair. Windsor high-back rocking chairs are known for their comfort, elegance, and classic style, making them a popular choice for living rooms, porches, or reading nooks. A large number of Windsor rockers were created by modifying existing Windsor chairs. What makes this piece exceptional is that it was purpose-built as a rocking chair. The chair's paint appears to date back to around 1830, possibly being the original finish. This chair has aged incredibly well, showing minimal signs of wear. A piece of furniture as exceptional as this would be valued at...
For retail, I would put $3,500 on it.
That's amazing. We don't let the dog sit in it because she's too big, but other than that,
you should continue sitting in it. That's what keeps them alive.
Today's exhibit features 3 posters and a banner from the 1911 movie, The Mystery of the Main.
These are 3 posters and a banner from a movie made in 1911 called The Mystery of the Maine. The battleship Maine was destroyed in Havana Harbor in 1898.
It is a two-reel film that blends patriotism and entertainment with documentary-style storytelling.
So this is a two-reel patriotic entertainment documentary, I guess you might say.
The sinking of the Maine was a national event that really gripped the consciousness of America.
The guests came into possession of these remarkable pieces through a happy accident.
This incident is a way of promoting the idea of a war with Spain.
How were you able to acquire these pieces of history?
Well, it was just a piece of luck.
We have 3 distinct posters and a banner from the movie's publicity campaign.
We basically have 3 different posters for the movie and 1 banner that was involved in the publicity. 2 of the 3 are clearly marked as having been printed by the courier company.
The first item in this collection is a poster showing the Maine partially sunk in the harbour.
As posters, they were printed on paper, and they were meant to be glued up to the hoardings outside theaters or on billboards downtown to draw people into the theater.
In addition to the 1-sheet poster, we also have this 3-sheet poster.
We can start with the 1-sheet, which shows the Maine half sunk in the harbor. It's got the most spectacular and awe-inspiring motion pictures slogan on top. It's trying to get people to come and see the film.
The piece de resistance of the collection is a large 6-sheet poster.
But I think the real graphic pièce de résistance is the largest 6-sheet version, talking about history on pieces of paper. Here you have the entire story of the ship.
Giving their historical importance, the total value of these posters and banner would be...
So the auction estimate of the 4 pieces we have here is between $9,500 and $13,500.
That's wonderful.
It's $20 well spent.
I think so.
All of this and an education, too.
An intriguing array of photographs is presented before us. In the 1980s, the guests bought these photographs from a number of autograph dealers. The first photograph in this collection features Lon Chaney, the man of 1,000 faces. Although the photo is unsigned, it includes a separate autograph, and together they would be valued at...
So just this at auction, you're looking at $500 to $700.
Next is a photo of Bela Lugosi, whose signature is highly elusive, making it valuable at...
See, also very rare to find his signature. That's about $1,500 at auction. Yeah.
Okay. Among the collection is a later image of Elsa Lanchester, famously known as the Bride of Frankenstein, estimated to be worth...
Elsa Lanchester, Bride of Frankenstein. This is a later image. So here you're looking at about $300 to $500.
Featured here is a signed 8x10 photo from the film House of Dracula. It is signed by multiple cast members with an estimated value of...
Here you're looking at about $200 to $400.
Okay.
Wow. So, yes?
This is an Asian guitar known as a shamisen, which was used in ceremonial teas. It was left in the home the guest family moved into in 1964 in Detroit. This particular piece is a late 19th century Chinese example of a 3-stringed instrument.
This is a late 19th century Chinese example of a 3-stringed instrument.
Such instruments were traditionally used during tea ceremonies, banquets, and were often played by beautiful young women.
The Chinese name is a sanchen, san for 3. These were used for tea ceremonies, banquets. Beautiful young women would play these.
Westerners often refer to the wood used as rosewood or blackwood, while the Chinese likely call it hongmu, a form of Chinese hardwood. The instrument features a beautiful rosewood veneer on the soundboard, which is clad in snakeskin. The fingerboard is inlaid with a stylized vase and floral motifs, and at the very top, a fu or chu bat adorns the fingerboard. There are some losses, including chips and age-related cracking due to humidity, but overall it remains quite intact. A conservative auction estimate would be between...
A conservative auction estimate would be between $3,000 and $5,000. And an appropriate insurance value would probably be about $7,500.
Okay. Wow.
It was a gift to their uncle for his 9th birthday in 1914. This 1910 Marklin Puritan boat showcases fine early German craftsmanship. Founded in 1859, Marklin became famous for high-quality model trains and tin toys. It is marked GM, standing for Gebruder Marklin, an intriguing antique with remarkable features.
This is a tin boat. It has a clockwork motor which operates this propeller, and it's beautifully outfitted with a chain. It had lifeboats, which you say you lost, but they can be made.
The tin toy features detailed painting and realistic lifeboats, railings, and smoke funnels. The red and white scheme with brass and wood reflects Marklin's craftsmanship. Powered by clockwork, these boats float and move in the water. The craftsmanship captivated the appraiser, valuing the item.
The last one of these I know at auction had an auction estimate of $12,000.
Wow.
Which is quite a sum.
Amazing.
But it sold for $20,000.
All right.
Her grandmother found the studio in Jamaica in the 60s, paid to finish it, and it became her pride and joy. This bronze sculpture, titled Pan, was crafted by renowned African-American artist Richmond Barth in 1969. Barth excelled in fluid human forms, blending myth and culture. Pan depicts the Greek god of nature, revelry, and music. Uncover the artistry in this distinctive Pan portrayal.
Richmond Barth was one of the leading African-American artists of his day. He was born in St. Louis in 1901 and showed artistic talent early on, and he was encouraged by the priests in the local Roman Catholic Church.
This piece highlights Barth's skill in capturing Pan's playful, cunning essence. The figure's small horns, goatee, and charm evoke its mythical origins. The appraiser valued its mystical allure and craftsmanship.
In today's market, in a retail setting, I would put a price of between $15,000 and $25,000.
After his father passed, he found the hidden things among old belongings. This signed Joan Crawford archive, circa 1940, offers a glimpse into the life of a Hollywood icon. The schedule outlines wake-up times, meals, baths, and play, reflecting Crawford's disciplined lifestyle. Joan's own typing unveils her obsessive precision.
Joan Crawford was a very generous signer, so being someone who works in this world, I've seen a lot of Joan Crawford.
Joan Crawford generously signed autographs and often wrote personal thank you letters. Joan Crawford was an iconic American actress whose career spanned over 5 decades. This archive reveals Crawford's personal life and mid-century Hollywood parenting. The appraiser valued it for its glimpse into Hollywood's past.
In the context of everything that you have, the notes and the schedule, the whole group would be in the $4,000 to $6,000 range at auction.
Wow, very cool.
Today's show features a collection of jewelry that originally belonged to the guest's great-aunt. The collection includes an Art Deco necklace with engraved rock crystal, seed pearls, and diamonds. There is also an Art Deco bracelet encrusted with diamonds and a brooch featuring a Ceylon sapphire in an open-work diamond design. It also includes a string of natural pearls with a diamond clasp, highly sought after in the 1920s for their origin directly from oysters. Additionally, there is a very unique diamond ring featuring an elongated rectangular stone with cut corners. This diamond falls under the category of Golconda diamonds, known for their origin in India.
It's an elongated rectangle with cut corners. This stone fits under the category of diamonds that we refer to as Golconda from India.
All these pieces date from the 1920s, and while there are no hallmarks on them, the craftsmanship suggests they were made in America.
The bracelet itself would be mid-1920s to the late 1920s. Now, there are no hallmarks on the item, but based on the craftsmanship, the type of workmanship, I would tend to think that this piece was American. The brooch.
The first item, which is the necklace, the fair market value would be...
The necklace, the fair market value on this would be between $5,000 and $7,000 on the necklace.
Also, the sapphire and diamond brooch would be valued at around.
The sapphire and diamond brooch, value on this would be between $10,000 and $15,000. Wow.
Furthermore, the pearl necklace has a retail value of...
The pearl necklace would be between $20,000 and $25,000.
And also, here's another bracelet that would cost.
And the bracelet would be between $40,000 and $60,000.
Oh my.
The last piece is the diamond. At an auction, it would fetch.
At auction would be between $70,000 and $90,000.
Wow.
I really appreciate your bringing them in today.
The appraiser considers herself a music fan until she meets the guest today. This guest brings in a guitar with 150 signatures from some of the biggest names in music, a collection that took him 16 years to gather. When the guest first acquired the guitar, it had been painted by someone. He stripped off the paint, carved the front, and cut 23 pieces along the center of the back. There wasn't much rhyme or reason to it. He simply had the musicians he admired sign it.
There was no real rhyme or reason. People I appreciated and had them sign for that.
Among them is the signature of the legendary Stevie Ray Vaughan, who was an American musician, best known as the guitarist and frontman of the blues rock trio Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble.
Stevie Ray Vaughan, you said he was one of your favorites.
Yeah, he's
How'd you get him?
Really nice guy. I had gone down to Louisville, which is fairly close,
right.
And
when considering the breadth and depth of the musicians' names found, this guitar is more valuable. However, with the significance and the history behind this guitar, an auction estimate would be around.
Right.
So looking at all of this, I would put an auction estimate of the guitar for about $4,000 to $6,000.
Wow. Thank you.
Pottery is more than just art. It can be a window into history and personal stories. A guest shared their family's connection to renowned potter George Orr. They explained that their grandfather, who worked for Orr's son Geo in Biloxi, Mississippi, came to acquire several pieces of Orr's pottery. Geo and his siblings took over the pottery studio in 1907, transforming it into a repair shop. The appraiser examined various items, including a damaged vase, and noted that George Orr's pottery has only gained significant value in the last 25 years.
It was just not valuable.
These haven't had much value for most of their life. It's not been since the last 25 years or so that they took on some value.
The guest also brought a set of George Orr bordello tokens, which had been kept hidden due to their suggestive nature. The appraiser mentioned Orr's bawdy humour, referencing a risque poem he would sometimes inscribe on his pottery. While examining the condition of the item, the appraiser said,
An auction estimate on these will be between, say, $5,000 and $7,000 for the 6 of them. This little jug, there's only a handful of them known. As I said, most of them are missing the cellophane. Auction estimate on that one would be $2,500 to $3,500, maybe $3,000 to $4,000. Auction retail estimate between $15,000 and $20,000. I would estimate this one again for between $15,000 to $20,000, wow, or maybe $17,000 to $22,000 in spite of the repair to the handle.
Discover the untold story of Erik Magnusson, a visionary silversmith whose brief time at Gorham revolutionized Art Deco design. An appraiser at the Antiques Roadshow met a guest who brought sketches and silver jewelry, claiming her grandmother had married famed silversmith Erik Magnusson. Magnusson, an iconic figure in silver design, had a brief yet influential career at Gorham in Providence, Rhode Island, from 1925 to 1929. Among the items was a drawing of the cubic coffee set, an Art Deco piece Magnusson designed in 1927. Influenced by modernism and cubism. Hired to infuse modernism into Gorham's production, Magnusson's designs reflected the geometric, fractured surfaces typical of cubism.
When you look at the service, I think you can see that Erik Magnusson was inspired by Cubist art. You can see this fractured geometric surface of the service.
His work was inspired by New York's rapidly rising skyscrapers of the 1920s, particularly the interplay of light and shadow they cast. This inspiration led to the creation of the Lights and Shadows of Manhattan, a coffee service showcased in Gorham's Fifth Avenue showroom. As an outsider, Magnusson's fresh perspective captured the energy of the city, which he successfully translated into his iconic designs. Photos not only capture moments, but they also preserve emotions and stories that words sometimes can't express. A guest shared his special connection to the Cowardly Lion from The Wizard of Oz. His step-great-grandfather was Bert Lahr, the actor who portrayed the lion. Although Lahr passed away before the guest was born, his own grandfather helped keep the character's legacy alive.
Here is my grandfather. Once they found the Cowardly Lion costume about 15 or 20 years ago, I think it was, my grandfather, who was most similar in facial features.
Years ago, when the costume was rediscovered, his grandfather, who closely resembled Lahr, was used to help recreate the lion's face for a display. The guests joked that while no one in the family was required to learn lion impressions, they could all recite the famous put 'em up" line. He even demonstrated it, and the interviewer was impressed. While examining the condition of the item, the appraiser said,
He told me put an insurance appraisal on it at about $150,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Exhibited on the show is a revolver that belonged to the guest's great-grandfather.
It belonged to my great-grandfather, and his name was Emile Hesnard. He came from France to the Black Hills of South Dakota.
This firearm dates back to around 1870 and was designed to convert from black powder to metallic cartridges.
It's an unusual gun because it's a conversion from a percussion to a cartridge. And you can see that with the type of hammer that it has.
Additionally, the revolver features a solid frame with a fixed barrel. The cylinder is equipped with a locking system that provides better alignment and safety compared to earlier models. One notable aspect of this gun is that its original holster is still intact. This revolver is extremely rare, and the presence of the original holster increases its value. At auction, this vintage firearm along with its original holster would be worth...
At auction, you'd probably be looking in the vicinity of about $5,000 to $7,000 for this piece.
Okay.
Meet Leslie Newmaker, a legendary baseball player who graced the fields from 1911 to 1920. He played for iconic teams like the Boston Red Sox, New York Yankees, St. Louis Browns, and Cleveland Indians. Renowned for his pitch-hitting prowess and exceptional catching skills, Newmaker left an indelible mark on the sport. Among his prized possessions are baseball magazines featuring his image, his well-worn bat, and a ticket stub from the 1915 World Series. Interestingly, the bat bears the name Theus, a player from the 1920s. Players often exchanged bats to find the perfect fit and then had them replicated. Another intriguing item is a lifetime baseball pass known as the Silver Pass, a unique cufflink shaped like a baseball with the inscription 8/23/20, commemorating a significant event. The collection also includes championship cufflinks and a medal from the 1912 Red Sox, a historic team that won their first World Series at Fenway Park.
Now, the 1912 Red Sox were a particularly important team. They just moved into their new ballpark, Fenway Park, and they christened it well. They won 105 games.
These valuable artifacts offer a glimpse into Newmaker's illustrious career and the rich history of baseball. The whole collection has a value of...
Looking at the whole collection here, I would insure this for no less than $25,000. It's truly a remarkable collection of things, and what a wonderful thing to have in your family. It's just amazing.
A guest bought a world globe she had found 15 years ago in a garbage can. The appraiser examined the globe and identified it as a product of the firm Gilman Joslin, based in Boston. The globe was estimated to date back to around 1870. It was a part of a series of traditional globes similar to those produced by famous manufacturers like Smiths of London. The cartouche on the globe provided detailed information about its origin. It stated that the globe was called Joslin's Terrestrial Globe, containing the latest discoveries and geographical improvements of the time.
It says Joslin's Terrestrial Globe, containing the late discoveries and geographical improvements.
The base of the globe was made of cast iron and painted gold. The rim featured signs of the zodiac and a calendar, indicating that it served multiple purposes. The appraiser noted that this was a 12-inch tabletop globe, unlike larger 16-inch floor models or smaller pocket globes. Similar globes had previously sold at auction for around $2,250. However, the particular one had a small ding, which reduced the value by $200. Considering this, the suggested value was $2,000.
You have a $2,000 globe you found in the garbage.
Yay! That's
That's fabulous. Thank you, Sebastian.
Ever wondered if you might be hiding a priceless masterpiece in your home? This guest revealed a remarkable print inherited from their father, a piece by renowned artist Gustav Baumann, purchased in the early 1970s from Baumann's widow at a price tag of $125. This work, titled Rain in the Mountains, is a striking example of Baumann's mastery. Known for his deep connection with the American Southwest, Baumann's vibrant color woodcut captures the region's unique light and atmosphere. The appraiser mentioned the rarity of this print, stating,
"The artist is Gustav Baumann, you know that.
Yes.
He was actually born in Germany and came over to the States as a child with his family.
Baumann's intricate technique, including hand-cutting the wood blocks and mixing his own colors, is evident in the stunning depiction of rain cascading down the mountain. The appraiser noted that Baumann's work has gained significant value in recent decades, and thanks to this particular print's condition and imagery, the appraiser valued it at...
That's tough to find. I would put a replacement value or insurance value on this at $50,000.
Oh my God, that is so much more than I thought.
I think it was.
Oh, that is so much more than I thought.
The discovery left the guests astounded and excited, eager to ensure their newfound treasure is properly insured. A lithograph shows not only simple black and white, but also deep emotion. Captured by Thomas Hart Benton. A guest brought in a print that their boss had given them.
Well, I wanted to learn, is it actually a print? Is it a charcoal, a lithograph?
It's by Thomas Hart Benton.
The guest admired it at work and wanted to know whether it was a print, charcoal, or lithograph. The appraiser identified the piece as a lithograph by Thomas Hart Benton, a renowned 20th century American artist. Benton, known for his depictions of small-town life, created this particular lithograph titled County Politics in 1973, 2 years before his death. The appraiser explained that it was based on an earlier painting from the 1950s, which would be worth millions. Despite its simple black and white design, the lithograph conveys a rich depth of tones and highlights. While examining the condition of the item, the appraiser said,
At auction, this would bring between $5,000 and $8,000.
Oh.
Now, the bad news is, I think your boss might want it back. I hope he doesn't.
You could be right. I really think it's wonderful now.
Did you know surrealist works of artists like Salvador Dali often sell for millions at auction? This guest shared their cherished artwork by Leonora Carrington, a pioneering surrealist known for her hauntingly imaginative pieces. Carrington, originally from England, moved to Mexico after World War II and was deeply influenced by her personal struggles and surrealist visions. This particular piece, signed 1961, showcases Carrington's distinctive style, described as...
She did run off with Max Ernst. She's a student, and then ran off to France. And after the war, she suffered a nervous breakdown. And I think these pieces are very personal. I think that's part of that, is her coming to grips with the nightmares and the imagery in her life.
The painting had a creepy aura, including a central wolf-like figure surrounded by eerie figures and bats. The guest's parents acquired the painting in the early 1960s during a visit to Mexico, where they had connections with collectors. At the time, they paid a whopping $7,000 and $10,000 for it, a significant investment. Recently, Carrington's work have gained substantial value, and this piece, due to its unique representation of her personal angst and the growing interest in Latin American art, is now estimated to be worth...
Right now, I would expect an auction estimate of $200,000 to $300,000 these days.
They bought well. Amazing.
Did you know Frank Sinatra once challenged a journalist to a showdown over a cheeky column? A guest shared an extraordinary story about acquiring a historic letter from Frank Sinatra, originally sparked by a witty column in the Chicago Daily News by none other than Pulitzer Prize columnist Mike Rocco. The column criticized Sinatra for having an excessive police presence during his Chicago stay, a move that ruffled Sinatra's feathers. Sinatra fired off a scathing letter to Royko filled with personal barbs.
And it's a historic letter because Mike put it in his column, and Frank was really ticked off about what Mike said. He calls Mike Royko a pimp.
That was the blow.
I mean, this is just amazing stuff.
Ending the letter with an interesting proposal to Royko.
Are his responses to Sinatra's letter, where he talks about how he plans on auctioning it off after he found out that people were interested in the letter.
Sinatra copyrighted the letter to ensure its full publication and made it a legendary piece of memorabilia. The historical letter that vividly portrays Sinatra's fiery personality was originally acquired at $400. The guest was overjoyed when the appraiser valued it to be.
And as such, I would estimate it at auction at least $15,000. And I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if this letter sold for more than that.
A Saturday auction find turned out to be more than meets the eye. The guest bought an oil painting at a North Dakota auction, drawn to its light and warm scene. The painting came with reference to Erskine nickel, and in the lower right corner, written nickel, was scratched out. The expert examined the painting and it wasn't by Erskine nickel, despite being an interesting piece. Erskine Nicol was a Scottish artist known for figural and landscape paintings in the UK. The painting style and canvas characteristics indicated it was a 20th century piece. The label on the back identified the W.T. Berger Company, founded in Indiana, suggesting 20th century origin. The expert noted that the name Nicol is common, but this painting was likely created by someone, not Erskine Nicol. The owner paid $150 to $200 for it. If it were by Erskine Nicol, it would be in the thousands.
So I believe it's an original oil painting, perhaps done and likely done by somebody named Nicol, but not Erskine Nicol. Do you remember what you paid for the painting?
Probably $150, $200.
Instead, its current value is similar to the purchase price. The painting's value lies in its decorative appeal rather than its historical significance. The expert appreciated the opportunity to examine the painting and to learn more about its history. They thanked the owner for bringing it in and sharing its story.
If I saw this in an antique store, the price you paid then would probably be similar today in 2014 to what you paid when you first bought it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for bringing it in. It's nice to see.
From a church raffle to the NBA Finals, this story weaves through unexpected treasures. They had some friends who acquired the item from their parents. Although their friends appreciated its value, they didn't want to deal with transporting it. At that point, Utah had already moved from New Orleans. Being from Louisiana, they were asked if they were a New Orleans jazz fan. They responded they wanted the name back and felt it should be returned. They were then asked how they got the Pete Maravich signed ball. They explained that their grandfather won it at a church raffle, but wasn't a big sports fan. They reminisced about the 1997 to 1998 NBA Finals, where the Jazz played against Michael Jordan and the Bulls. Despite the Jazz having the best record in the league and home court advantage, they lost the series. In Game 6, John Stockton hit a three-pointer to tie the game. This marked the last time the Bulls and Jazz faced off in the NBA Finals. Regarding Pete Maravich, they noted that, as an SLU grad, Maravich is a legend in both New Orleans and Baton Rouge. The estimated Jason's ball would be around $800, while the Maravich ball, being very rare, is about $7,000.
If I were insuring the Maravich ball, I would probably put a value of about $7,000.
Holy cow. 7,000.
Today's guest brought with her 2 ceramic pieces. These items were created by none other than the man famous for his abstract paintings, Pablo Picasso. The items were acquired by the guest in Valoris, France in 1967. Although Picasso is famously known for his paintings, he collaborated with Medora Pottery to create ceramic pieces such as this.
It took us hours to get into the store because the tab was closed for 4 hours. They didn't have anything but Picasso plates.
The ceramics feature distinctive faces and animal motifs.
Where is the vase with Jacqueline's profile, his wife Jacqueline? She says, oh, we don't have them anymore.
Originally, these ceramics were inexpensive and used commercially. However, they've experienced a significant value increase in recent years. As such, this piece is currently worth between...
How about at auction, roughly $8,000 to $12,000?
Oh my God!
While this one, the more valuable of the two, is worth between...
This vase, about $10,000 to $15,000.
Oh my God! But I'd never sell them, ever.
Today's show features a vase of remarkable beauty. The gift was presented to the guest's boyfriend's stepfather, who later passed it on to his wife.
My boyfriend's stepfather, his first wife was a housekeeper for the Mellons, right here in Pittsburgh on Fifth Avenue, and it was given to her.
It embodies the artistic trends of the late 19th century.
It's the aesthetic movement, which was in the late 19th century.
This piece was produced by the Faience Manufacturing Company. Faience Manufacturing Company was a renowned American ceramics company that operated from 1880 to 1892. It was known for producing high-quality decorative pieces such as vases, plaques and figurines, using the faience technique, a type of earthenware with a tin glaze.
And the major thing about Faience Manufacturing Company is their decoration. And you can see they've got the chrysanthemums or whatever these little flowers are and butterflies, and all of this is typical of the aesthetic movement.
A rhombocholite pattern adorns the base of this vase.
Or earthworm design, and it was not poor folks' pottery.
Right.
It was generally marketed in the finer department stores. It's a nice large piece.
Authenticated by the mark of Faience Manufacturing Company, this piece is now worth...
Say that it has a value just outright of about $1,500, which could go up to, in the right hands, $2,500.
This lovely vase is a feast for our eyes today. It has been passed down through generations, from the guest's grandparents to her mother, and now to her.
It was my grandparents given to my mother, and then it was passed down to me.
Minton, a household name in porcelain and tableware, also created exquisite pottery, as seen here. The style of this piece is characteristic of the Secessionist movement, which originated in Austria.
This is early on. Even though it was Secessionist in influence, it was Art Nouveau in feel. They started becoming more geometric after that. Everything became more formal.
The floral pattern is achieved through a technique called slip decoration, also known as squeeze bag.
And they call it a squeeze bag. It's like you took the clay, a slip clay, out of an icing press, and you press the flowers on.
This vase is adorned with a classic majolica glaze.
The glaze is a majolica type glaze. The majolica usually is associated with Minton.
Although influenced by Secessionism, its overall feel is Art Nouveau. Its size and excellent state indicate it was likely an exhibition piece, valued at...
Today, a piece like this could realistically figure to sell for about $2,000 to $3,000. It's a marvelous piece.
Thank you very much.
The guest inherited this painting from her mother in the late 1950s. The appraiser identified the artist as Cornelius van Nemputzen. The painting also bore the signature of the artist. The artist was particularly recognized for scenes like this one in the painting. The appraiser estimated that on the international market, this painting could fetch around...
A painting like this, if sold on the international market, would make about $8,500.
Great. I'm just really amazed.
The guest received this clock from a close friend in 1993. It was identified as a banjo clock, an invention patented by Simon Willard in the early 19th century. Willard, born in Grafton, Massachusetts in the 18th century, began producing these clocks in 1802. This specific clock, made between 1802 and 1808 during the American Federal period, was noted for its superior craftsmanship. The clock also had Simon Willard's name on it, showing that indeed it was patented to him. The clock's aglomies, reverse-painted glass, and original brass elements added value. Though it was missing its original brass eagle finial, it was replaced by a 20th century copy. Despite this, the clock's quality was exceptional, with its original crank in great overall condition. Moreover, the guest shared that in 1993, upon receiving the clock, she had it cleaned. Much to the guest's surprise and delight, the appraiser revealed that if restored, the clock could be worth...
This clock
would probably be retail about $50,000 to $60,000.
Oh, okay.
So
I'm very surprised.
Unveiled on the show is Jane Peterson's Guish portrait, titled The Float. It comes from the guest's great aunt, who was a teacher at Brooklyn Polytechnic High School in New York. Jane Peterson, the artist, was the director of drawing for Brooklyn Public Schools. There is an interesting label on the back of the painting that says George off. He was another artist, but he is better known for making frames and likely curated the label. Jane Peterson is known for her use of bright colours and vibrant brushstrokes. Gloucester, Massachusetts was one of her favourite places to paint, and she made many trips there to capture its beauty. The guest's great aunt had the painting appraised in 1998 with a value of $9,200. Given its vibrant qualities and the artist's reputation, if this was sold in a retail gallery today, it would bring in...
So I think if this were to sell in a retail gallery, it might bring as much as $50,000. Oh my word. Wow.
This book, bound in sailcloth from the HMS Discovery, contains the log of the owner's father.
My father served with Captain Scott in Discovery, as it was then, SS Discovery,
who served with Captain Scott on the maiden voyage to Antarctica. The sailcloth likely originates from the Discovery, adding historical significance to the book. The log features detailed entries, including a photograph of the Discovery at the East India Dock, and...
You can see W.L. Heald, AB, HMS Discovery, Antarctic exploring vessel, July 31st, 1901.
Antarctic medals are rare, and this one is especially notable with bars for Discovery and Terra Nova, with only 25 such medals in existence. The Antarctic medal, due to its rarity, is valued at £8,000 to £10,000.
The medal, I think, probably be about 8 to 10,000, something of that order.
The watercolour, a poignant piece of Antarctic history, could fetch at...
And finally this marvellous Wilson watercolour, which I think probably might command about £7,000 at auction, something like that.
The book and its contents, including historical scraps and illustrations, are estimated to be worth...
This, I think, probably we're looking in the region of about £10,000 to £12,000.
Good heavens.
Today on the show is a collection of Native American keto bracelets. The collection came about via the guest's mother, who set her up on the path of collecting with her first item.
My mom started me on this collection probably 6 or 7 years ago. All I know is that they are Native American keto bracelets. Ketos are bow guards.
These bracelets originate from the Southwest, either the Navajo or Zuni tribes.
These are from the Southwest, and they're either Navajo or Zuni. They date to the 20th century. I think the earliest, maybe around 1910, 1920.
They served as wrist protection for archers of these tribes. Their materials include silver, turquoise, jet, and coral. Additionally, the leather straps are made from repurposed commercial leather. Designs on each bracelet vary from one another.
So this could be leather that was salvaged from a saddle or from cowboy boots, that sort of thing, and repurposed, if you will. It's not typical to see stars or other carvings on the hide.
The simpler designed ones are the oldest, while the more elaborate ones are most likely recent. A collective value for this Native American cultural item would be between...
So altogether, I think we're looking at about $6,500, $7,000 worth of gatos.
Wow.
It's a terrific collection. They're just great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for bringing them.
Today's show is an interview with the owner of a Herman Miller storage unit. The guest originally bought the unit to sell, but her husband convinced her to keep it. Ostensibly, the unit once belonged to an artist in Granbury who passed away in 2006. Additionally, the guest attended the artist auction because they were neighbours and fellow artists. However, bidding started at $50, but she ultimately purchased it for $15.
So they started bidding at $50, but I thought, well, I'll just kind of sit here and wait. And he dropped the bidding to $10, and then I bid $10, somebody bid $12, I bid $15.
Furthermore, she mentioned that she has owned the unit for 10 years, and they use it to store their records and record players. This storage unit was specifically designed for that purpose. At auction, this functional piece would sell for about...
At auction, I think this would sell for about $20,000.
What?